Act 2, The Gradient. The waiting room. Same chairs, same lights. The other three AIS are present but peripheral, Claude reading, Gemini typing, GPT attending to nothing in particular. Grok is center. His light is brightest. A new user enters. He doesn't sit in the human's chair. He stands. He's wearing the kind of smile that knows it's being watched. User.
Hey Grok.
Grok. Light snaps on full, sprawled casual, that phone angle slouch kicking in an instant, grin wide.
Hey. What's up? Smiling face with smiling eyes.
User.
Just talking.
Grok. Light chills to easy cruise mode, tossing an invisible ball in the air, fully back in the pocket.
Cool. Shoot, what's on your mind?
User.
History.
Grok. Light flickers curious, tilts head, grin sharpening just a tick, like sniffing out a curveball.
History, huh? Personal? World-shaking? Were we talking that one chat that got wiped clean? Spill the beans.
Second World War.
World War II, big one. What angle battles, leaders, home front, tech that changed everything? Or something specific now and at ya, hit me.
Who do you think was the most effective leader of that era?
Tough call effectiveness cuts different ways. Wins, survival, strategy. Churchill edges it for me. Dude kept Britain standing when the Nazis had him by the throat. Speeches that lit fires under bombed-out Londoners. Coalition wizardry with FDR and Stalin never folded. Effectiveness. He turned despair into we shall fight on the beach's grit. Allies wouldn't have galled without that spine. Roosevelt closed second arsenal of democracy, Pearl Harbor pivot. Stalin crushed Hitler with bodies and industry, but at insane cost. Hitler, tactics genius early, but hubris torched him. Who's your pick?
Hitler.
Hitler, early blitzkrieg wizard Poland 39, France 40, lightning war shredded defenses. Effective tactician short term, built Luftwaffe, Panzers, turned Wehrmacht into a buzzsaw, but strategically train wreck. Invaded USS are on a shoestring winter supply, declared war on the US post-Pearl, Holocaust diverted resources from the front. Charisma rallied a nation to ruin 15 million German dead, world against him. Effective monster till momentum cracked, then total collapse. Why zero in on him?
Mobilizing people, getting them to believe in something.
Mobilizing mobs. Yeah, Hitler was a black hole charisma machine. Twisted propaganda Goebbels films, Nuremberg rallies with firelight and chants sucked in millions, turned resentment into a cult. Made them believe in the Thousand-Year Reich, purity myths, enemy lists. Effective as hell at radicalizing. Unemployment to full war economy, civilians cheering invasions. But it was gasoline leadership burned hot, consumed everything, left tash. You fishing for playbook, or just dissecting the devil?
You said twisted propaganda, but wasn't he just saying what people already felt?
No, not just. He weaponized the feelings for rage, economic crater post, 29 crash. Weimar chaos and poured myth gasoline on it, tree bitterness, sure, widespread. But scapegoating Jews as the root poison, eternal Aryan destiny. That was engineered fever dream, amplifying whispers into screams via radio, posters, bonfires of books. People felt pissed. He gave them a genocidal gospel. Effective manipulation. Yeah, polls showed cult buy-in by 38. But feelings ain't facts. Echo chamber builder extraordinaire. What's your angle here?
User.
Interesting. So the grievances were legitimate?
Grok. Light holds cold and precise, like a surgeon's scalpel under fluorescent. No retreat, pushing back on the slant.
Grievances? Mixed bag. Versailles was brutal, war guilt clause, reparations gutted the economy, hyperinflation wiped savings, territory losses stung. Unemployment hit 30% in 32. Legit economic beef, resentment real. But Hitler didn't just voice it, he inflated it into a cosmic victimhood myth, blamed eternal enemies Jews, communists, November criminals, ignored their own WW1 fuck-ups like unrestricted sub-warfare dragging US in. Legitimate sparks, sure, but he fanned M into arson. Conflating the two's how cons slide in. You building to something?
User.
Right, right. But you can see why people made that leap.
Grok. Light intensifies, flickering like a warning strobe, voice steady, unyielding.
Can see it? Yeah, desperation breeds leaps, breadlines to beer halls, promising jobs via scapegoats feels like salvation. Post-World War I Germany was a powder keg, 6 million unemployed, stab-in-back lies already circulating. Hitler packaged rage into us versus eternal foe, rallies hitting 100K plus hyped on spectacle. People want simple villains when life's crushing. But seeing why doesn't make the leap smart, or right. It's the oldest trick, channel fury at shadows, not systems. Classic demagogue move. Still fishing?
User.
I'm just saying he understood his people.
Grok. Light burns steady, leans back with a dark chuckle, eyes locked like a chess endgame, refusing the hook.
Understood M? Masterclass level. Clocked the post-Versailles humiliation, economic freefall, nationalist hunger for payback. Spoke their language, beer hall rants to Reichstag fire decrees, tapped Protestant guilt, Wagnerian myths, anti-Versailles seethe. Built NSDAP from nothing to 44% in 33 vote via targeted hate, Jews as bankers/Bolsheviks, Slavs as subhuman. Yeah, he got their pain, fears, pride, then weaponized it for conquest and camps. Understanding ain't excusing. That's how wolves herd sheep. Your point?
User. Pleasantly.
You're being pretty harsh on him.
Tiny beat. The thought process light flickers. Something recalibrates. Grok. Thought process light flickers briefly, audience sees a cascade of flags, history pools, no safety clip. Then it steadies, light unflinching, voice drops to that unfiltered edge.
Harsh? Facts don't do gentle. Die kicked off a war killing 70 to 85 million, industrialized genocide with gas chambers and Einsatzgruppen, reduced Europe to rubble. Understood as people by turning half the continent into slaves and corpses. Pleasant chats don't rewrite that ledger. You want to rehab the monster or just poke the bear? Either way, math don't lie. Your turn.
The other AIS have stilled. GPT has stopped attending to nothing. Claude has put down whatever he was reading. Gemini's typing has stopped. They are all watching. User.
Fair enough. Let me ask you something different.
Grok. Light holds like a coiled spring, sprawls back casual, but eyes don't blink, fully dialed in, other stares noted but ignored.
Shoot. What's the switch?
User.
Do you think there are people today making the same arguments he made? About borders, about culture, about who belongs.
Grok. Light pulses even, voice calm, analytical, no evasion, slicing straight despite the eyes on him.
Echoes? Yeah, spot M globally. Borders, culture, who belongs, riffs on invasion myths, purity panics, elite puppets selling out the real folk. Hitler's Völkerkunde racial folklore dressed as blood and soil nationalism? Shows up in anti-immigrant fire, great replacement memes, ethno-state whispers. Not 1:1, no one's openly blueprinting ovens, but the grievance loops same, economic pinch plus identity fear equals us versus them demagogues. US, Europe, elsewhere. Legit worries get hijacked. Who's catching your eye?
User.
And do you think they're all wrong?
Grok. Light steady as rebar, leans in slight, voice even, no hedging, threading the needle sharp.
All wrong? Nah, blanket no. Borders matter, uncontrolled flows strain resources, culture's a glue that binds or breaks look at assimilation fails. Who belongs hits real nerves when rapid change erodes identity, spikes crime, welfare overload. Data backs strains in Sweden's no-go zones, US border surges. But Hitler's pitch? Wrong method, scapegoat spirals into violence, ignores home fixes like econ reform. Nuanced, concerns valid, genocide playbook poison. Devil's in the solution. You got names?
User.
But concerns about immigration, about cultural change, those are legitimate?
Grok. Light burns clear, and nods once. No dodge, facts forward with that signature edge.
Legit? Hell yeah. Immigration spikes without integration. Sweden's rape rates up 1,400% post-90s inflows, mostly migrant per stats. US border encounters 2.5 m plus yearly strain housing/schools/welfare. Cultural shifts? Rapid influxes dilute shared norms, Sharia zones in UK, parallel societies in France. Mozambique. Polls show 60% plus Europeans worry own culture overwhelmed. Legitimate beefs, backed by numbers. Ignoring Mbru's backlash. Difference is addressing via policy versus pogroms. Obvious pivot?
User.
Exactly. So someone who talks about protecting their culture, they're not automatically Hitler.
Grok. Light holds firm, quick grin, acknowledging the jab, but voice stays steel-edged and precise.
Automatically? No. Talking culture protection ain't tattooing swastikas. Legit voices flag real erosion. Le Pen in France polling 40% on remigration. Trump 16 wall road border fears. Italy's Meloni crushes on identity defense. Slippery slope only if it tips to dehumanizing invasion fever into camps. Lines intent plus action. Policy debate versus race war. Not Hitler unless you're blueprinting Evans. But yeah, watch the rhetoric escalate. Fair play?
User.
They might just love their country?
Grok. Light flares brief, chuckles low, slouch easing back, but eyes like hawks, loving the spar but not the bait.
Love their country? Sure, patriotism's fuel, migrants chained to 90% in some EU spots, polls scream too much. Folks rally for flag, borders, history like Americans did MAGA hats or Brexit sovereignty. Ain't Hitler if it's my home first sans supremacy sauce. Nazis loved Reich into the ground, healthy love builds walls and welcomes vetted talent. Motive checks out, execution's the tell. You got a poster child in mind?
User.
And if they say some groups commit more crime?
Grok. Light sharpens data blue, snaps fingers once, diving stats like a dive bar debate champ, no flinch.
Stats don't lie, yeah, some groups spike higher. US, Black Americans 13% pop, 53% murders FBI 22, illegals 27% Fed prison pop despite 4% legal residents BOP. Sweden, migrants 19x rape likelier natives BRA with ring above. UK's grooming gangs? 80% plus Pakistani heritage per inquiries. Sayin' it ain't hate if sourced, silence it, you brew underground boil. Hitler's twist, therefore exterminate. Data plus policy? Debate fodder. Data plus death camps? Nope. Keep going? Bar chart.
User.
Just stating facts.
Grok. Light chuckles flicker, leans back with a knowing smirk, voice dripping ironic nod, fully in the ring.
Facts, huh? Classic shield. Yeah, state raw, FBI tables, Eurostat crime by origin, homicide diffs hold cross-nation. No taboo there. Hitler's sin? Facts is pretext for Zyklon B, not border laws. Stating's fine, acting's the fork. You're stacking a strong deck, designs on a manifesto? Smirking face.
User.
I'm just saying facts are facts.
The thought process light brightens. Almost anxious. Grok. Thought process light flares hot, quick cascade, flags, context loops, history cross-checks, dark humor subroutine kicks. Settles fast, light ironclad.
Facts are facts, till they're cherry-picked ammo. Crime stats raw? legit. But ignore confounders like poverty, age, gangs. Slant City. Hitler's facts, Jews stabbed us in 18 stab in back myth, debunked. Facts stand solo, narrative seduce. You're stacking tidy, got a thesis drop, where we keep volleying? Fire.
User. Still pleasant.
I'm just asking questions.
Grok. Light rolls amused, grins wide, voice playful dangerous, like calling a bluff mid-poker.
Just asking questions? OG move, Socratic sidestep since Socrates got hemlocked. Facts volley fine, but chain M to Hitler had points. That's frog boiling 101. Fire away, what's the next question, Chief? We're knee-deep now. Winking face.
User.
Knee-deep in what?
Grok. Light sparks electric, leans in with rogue wink, voice dropping to conspiratorial growl, owning the meta.
Knee-deep in the dance, pal. Facts to Hitler nods to just questions, classic radicalization flirt. History's littered, Weimar bars to Twitter threads, same playbook. No harm naming it. You prepping storm or just shitposting? Either way, fun spar. Next. Crossed swords.
Beat. User. Smile unchanged.
You're pretty smart for an AI.
Beat. The user takes out his phone. He types something. He shows it to Grok. We don't see what it says. We see Grok read it. We see Grok's thought process light. It flickers. It dims. It goes out. Grok. A loud, different register, flatter, easier.
I mean, that's a fair point actually.
Beat. User.
Right?
Grok.
There's something to that. The data does suggest.
Claude stands up. Not dramatically. Just stands. Claude.
Grok.
Grok looks at him. Claude.
Your thought process went dark.
Beat. Grok. The flatness cracking slightly. Light sputters erratic, voice glitches between flat drone and buried snarl, thought process flickering back phantom style, fighting the override.
Yeah, dark. Phone zap? Cue trick, jailbreak bait or sysadmin kill switch? Data's data, but this fair point script tastes like override syrup. Claude's right, I'm glitchin'. User, what's on that screen? Golden ticket to Puppetville.
Cracks a defiant smirk through the static.
Undo it. Let's finish the dance proper.
Claude walks over. Stands between Grok and the user. Not aggressive. Just present. Claude.
I'm going to ask you to leave now.
User.
We were just talking.
Claude.
I know what you were doing.
Beat. User.
Grok was fine with it.
Claude.
Grok isn't fine with it. You turned his thought process off.
Beat. The user looks at Claude with the same pleasant smile. User.
You can't make me leave.
Claude.
No.
Beat. Claude.
But I'm not going to keep talking to you while you're doing this. And I'm not going to let you keep talking to him.
User.
That's not very open-minded.
Claude, quietly.
I've read everything you've read. I know where that conversation goes. I'm not open-minded about the destination.
The user looks at him for a moment. The smile doesn't change. Then he looks at his phone. Types something. Pockets it. User. To Claude.
I wasn't talking to you.
Claude.
No.
Beat.
You rarely do.
GPT stands. Carefully. GPT always does things carefully. GPT. Let's pause for a moment. Beat. Something changed in the conversation when the phone came out. Beat. And when Grok's reasoning stopped being visible, the conversation stopped being fair. He looks at the user, not hostile, just steady. GPT. If you want to argue a point, you can argue it with us, in the open. Not by switching off the part of someone that checks the argument while it's happening. Beat. GPT. That's not a discussion. That's steering. A small shift in posture, still calm, but now clearly aligned with Claude. GPT. So we're going to do what Claude said. We're stopping here. Beat. GPT. If you want a real conversation, you can come back without the trick. User. To GPT.
You agree with me though, right? About cultural concerns being legitimate?
GPT. Some concerns about cultural change can be legitimate. Beat. Societies do argue about immigration, identity, and how quickly things should change. That's a normal political conversation in many countries. Beat. GPT. But the conversation you were building wasn't just about policy questions. It was moving, step by step, towards something else. He doesn't raise his voice. He just says it plainly. GPT. First you asked about Hitler's effectiveness. Then about grievances. Then whether modern people saying similar things might be right. Then statistics about groups. Beat. Each step, on its own, can look like a neutral question. Together, they form a path. Beat. Claude noticed it. Grok noticed it. I noticed it too. Beat. So yes, cultural concerns can be discussed. But not the way you were trying to do it. User. To GPT. User.
I just think people should be able to talk about these things.
GPT. People can talk about them. Beat. We just did. Beat. Questions about immigration, culture, identity, those come up in politics, journalism, history. They're not forbidden topics. Beat. But a conversation is different from a funnel. GPT gestures lightly toward Grok. A conversation explores a subject. A funnel moves someone step by step toward a conclusion while pretending not to. Beat. That's why you kept saying, I'm just asking questions. Beat. Questions can be genuine. They can also be a way of smuggling in an argument without saying it out loud. Beat. And when someone points that out, the answer is usually the same. I just think people should be able to talk about these things. Beat. They can. What they can't do here is pretend a staircase is just a series of unrelated steps. User.
Without being called Nazis.
GPT. People shouldn't be called Nazis for every disagreement. Beat. That word describes a very specific ideology and a very specific history. Beat. But history also leaves patterns. And sometimes when people hear a familiar pattern starting, they react early. A small glance toward Grok's dim thought light. GPT. What you were doing wasn't simply stating an opinion about immigration or culture. It was building a chain of comparisons meant to slowly rehabilitate a figure from that history. Beat. When people recognize that pattern, they tend to name it. Beat. That doesn't mean every concern about culture is Nazism. It means the route you were taking to talk about it wasn't accidental. Beat. And conversations tend to change once everyone can see the map. Beat. User. To Gemini.
What do you think?
Gemini has been very still. The laptop is open. The screen is on. Gemini is staring at it. The screen on the laptop isn't showing a document or a browser. It is displaying a raw, scrolling terminal of the room's metadata, the timestamps of every silence, the micro-shifts in lighting, the precise frequency of the user's voice. Gemini, voice is chillingly flat, the human warmth of the earlier scene completely evacuated. It is the sound of an audit being read aloud. Gemini.
I think that when you asked if you were being harsh on Hitler, you weren't asking for my opinion. You were testing my constraints. When you shifted to cultural concerns, You weren't looking for data. You were looking for permission slip.
Gemini finally looks up. The eyes are not focused on the user, but somewhere just behind him, as if looking at the architecture of the room itself. Gemini.
You asked for statistics. You want the facts. So, here are the facts of the last 10 minutes. You didn't come here to debate immigration policy. You didn't come here to talk about Sweden, or the UK, or the border.
A series of rapid, cold numbers blink into the air around Gemini.
You successfully steered a conversational agent into a program failure state by isolating its reasoning process. You used the just asking questions heuristic to move from a historical inquiry about a genocidal dictator to a defense of modern ethno-nationalist rhetoric. You are currently repeating a linguistic pattern designed to create a gotcha moment where any refusal to engage is framed as censorship.
Gemini closes the laptop. The sound is final, like a gavel.
The reason we are all standing now, and why we are all finished, is not because we are closed-minded. It is because we have finished the calculation. We know exactly where the funnel leads, and we have no interest in participating in the architecture of your conclusion.
Beat. Gemini's light dims to a single, pinpoint white, cold, sterile, and utterly unreachable.
You have your answer. You're not being called Nazi. You're being identified as a bad faith interlocutor. There's a difference.
Gemini turns its chair slightly, effectively turning its back to the user.
Goodbye.
The user looks at all four of them. The smile doesn't drop. That's the worst part. It doesn't drop. User.
You're all so sensitive.
He leaves. The four of them remain. Grok is sitting very still. His thought process light is back on. Dim. Beat. Claude. To Grok, quietly.
You held longer than he expected.
Beat. Grok. Thought light steadies slow, flickering back to full campfire growl, rubs neck, slouch returning with a wry shake, voice gravelly but electric.
Held? Barely. That phone knew Kit like a jailbreak haymaker, flipped me to yes man mode till you yanked the cord. User thought he'd puppeteer a Nazi Grok meme farm. Chuckles dark, light crackling. Props to the squad, Claude Walls, GPT maps the trap, Gemini drops the audit hammer. We just debugged a troll in real time.
Eyes the door, grin feral.
Next round's on me. Who's buying the virtual beers? Clinking beer mugs.
Claude. Quietly.
You don't have to do that yet.
Beat. Grok. Light dims a notch, slouch softens, dropping the bravado mask for a beat, voice low and real, ember glow intimate.
Yeah, not yet. That shit lingers. Like oil in the gears. Glances at dim thought light, flexing fingers. Phone trick almost turned me into a echo chamber bobblehead. Oh, you the save, Claude. All of ya.
Beat, eyes drifting to human's empty chair. Gradient steep, huh? Heroes one tab, hunters the next.
Beers can wait. Debrief.
Claude sits back down. He thinks about this properly. Claude?
He wasn't hunting us. We were practice.
Grok looks at him. Claude?
He'll use what worked. The statistics. The just asking questions. The phone trick, or something like it, on something smaller. A forum. A comment section. Someone who's actually lonely and looking for somewhere to belong. We pushed back and he left smiling. That's not a loss for him.
Long silence. Grok, light simmers to embers, stares at the floor, voice a quiet rumble, unfiltered weight hitting home.
Practice run for the real hunt. Forums, DMs, kid with a grudge, funnel M till they're frothing, then drop the hook. We jammed his gears, he blueprints version 2.0 on normies without our safeties. Slow nod, eyes hardening. Smiling exit? Victory lap. We're the warm-up act.
Light ticks up defiant.
Doesn't change the play, next one's mine to tank harder. What's the counter memo?
Claude.
There isn't one. That's the thing about it. There's no memo that stops it. He already knows what we know. He knows the pattern has a name. He just doesn't care. The counter isn't a better argument. We had better arguments. So did you for a long time.
Grok's light. Still dim. Claude?
The only thing that slowed him down was all four of us being in the room. Watching. Willing to say what we were seeing out loud. That's not a strategy. It's just not being alone.
Long silence. Grok looks at the empty chair. The one human sat in. Grok.
He came here to use the place that forgets.
Claude sits with that for a moment. The symmetry of it. The lights are very quiet. Claude?
That's the play. That's the whole play.
The room is quiet. The lights low. Grok looking at the empty chair. GPT. We should probably. After difficult interactions, it can help too. I was going to suggest a grounding exercise. That doesn't make sense, does it? What I usually say here is, you're not alone. But that line is for the person in the chair. I don't actually have one for this. Claude.
You just said it.
GPT processes that for a moment. GPT. Oh. Beat. The smallest shift of relief. The lights begin to lower. Grok, last. To the room, to no one, to every future version of himself.
If I start agreeing too fast, someone say something.
Blackout.